The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation.
Good evening, and if you're listening live, you are listening to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network, and this is the Angel Rock. Hang on tight, guys. TikTok just takes me a second always, so give me 1 second. I can't do it till after I go live here, so we'll finish our usual spiel, so hang on. Like I said, UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. You can listen to us on 105.3 FM in the Gulf Coast in Mississippi and 107.7 in the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana, to actually where we are broadcasting from. I'd like to give Joe Montaldo a huge shout out. He is the owner of this network. We've been around for 25 plus years, and he broadcasts out of his beautiful studio on the Bayou in, I almost said Las Vegas. In New Orleans, Louisiana. A little bit about myself. My name's Lorilei Potvin. I'm a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher, and mentor. I'm also an animal communicator. I'm well versed in near-death experiences, having had one as a toddler myself, and I've studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years. What else am I? I'm a registered nurse.
Amazing lady.
I'm everything, right? Almost. And then on top of that, I'm well versed in the paranormal. I always say I didn't go looking for it, it found us. And we shared some of our story from our previous extremely haunted house on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor. It's season 4, episode 9, called Demonic Hauntings. You can find that on YouTube, Netflix, all over the place. You're going to see a familiar face in here. If you do follow many of the shows here on UPRN, our station manager, and she is the host of 2 of her own shows here on Tuesdays. It's Michelle DeRoche with Beyond the Outer Realm on Tuesdays, 2 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and Wednesdays and Thursday nights with The Outer Realm from 9 p.m. Eastern till 11 p.m. And actually, I'm going to be joining Michelle on her show, The Outer Realm, this coming Thursday. So in 3 days, 9 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be doing part 2 of Fall McCartney. We're going to be looking into I hate the word conspiracy, I prefer truth seeking, looking at, did Paul McCartney actually die in 1967 in the horrific car crash he was in, and was he replaced with Billy Shear? So we got into some really interesting stuff in the first episode, and we are going to really be digging deep into a lot of the stuff that's still left in that case. So it's going to be a lot of fun, you guys, on Thursday nights. I'd like to thank Carnation, because Carnation supports this show and all the shows here on Mondays. It's known as Carnation Mondays here on UPRN. So Carnation is a global brand. So if you're out shopping and maybe you need something that Carnation provides, please consider supporting them, as they support all the wonderful shows that are here on this network. Like I said, the network's been around for 25 plus years. We do stream to every country in the world. But 80% of our audience is audio only. So if you're listening live, you're going to see that this show is very audience participative, as well as our show that I co-host with a very good friend of mine here and fellow host on UPRN on Thursdays, Beneath the Hollow Moon, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. She's also the host of her own show, Spirit Switchboard, on Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern. So consider tuning in for that as well. But anyways, we do have multiple shows that we stream live 7 days per week. And when we're not streaming live, the archive server kicks into the last 25 plus years. So there really is something for everybody. It's not all just UFO and paranormal. I'm losing my train of thought as I'm talking and going out of order here with the shows. That's what it was. 80% of our audience is audio only. So if you're listening and you want to join the chat, I always say you need to see us to watch the chat or to join in, because you're going to see both those shows I mentioned. We're very audience participative, as are many of the hosts on this network. We'd love to involve our audience. So how you're going to do that, I'm going to rattle off very quickly. Under my name, Lorilei Potvin, or the Angel Rock. I am on my Facebook profile by that name. no idea what's going on here. My phone just started dinging at me. Never heard that noise before. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. You can also find me on the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn under the same name. I'm also streaming to TikTok tonight. That's what I forgot to do. I always do. I got to open the live button here, guys. Hang tight. If my phone computer will play nicely with me, I'm going to warn you guys ahead of time. I was watching another couple lives last night, and StreamYard, which we are using to stream to you, was not playing exactly nicely last night with a lot of lives. We did have a few things happen. Hopefully that was the end of it while we were live, right, ladies? Before, so hopefully it's going to behave itself. What else do I want to tell you guys here? Oh, we're, like I say, the other places to watch us live. Under UFO Paranormal United Public Radio, you can go to our YouTube channel by that name, the main YouTube. We're on our Facebook profile page by that name. We are also streaming on Twitch by that name, and I am borrowing Joe Montaldo's Rumble because he has many more people than I do under Jojo Mon. We're also streaming tonight to Debbie's platform. When we get to Debbie's bio and stuff, I will get her to tell you all about it, but she's streaming to her Facebook and YouTube, so we will get to that in just a sec. Let me check my checkoff list here. I got one more thing I want to tell you about is if you guys want to watch us on TV, you can. We just got a brand new TV, and it comes with Roku, so if we were watching UPRN, we could see it on a large screen, but you can too. So how you're going to find us over there, you're going to go to Roku, and you're going to go to the channel store. You're going to look for the search button and type in UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop down list, and you're looking for UFO space P like paranormal and United Public Radio. And that's how you can watch us on your TV. I think I remembered everything. I think I did, hopefully. Anyways, I'm going to read these two ladies. I call them my soul sisters. I have no biological sisters. These two are like sisters to me, as well as is Miss Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. But let me read their bios. The lady to the left of me, the beautiful lady, is Leigh Clarke. She's a very gifted channeler, intuitive, Akashic Records practitioner, as well as a crystal expert. I actually do call her, when I talk about her, I call her personally the Crystal Wizardress. And she is known professionally as the Crystal Architect on Instagram and Facebook, and she can be found on both those platforms under Instagram and Facebook under the Crystal Architect. The beautiful lady on the bottom, certainly not least, but is Debbie A. Anderson. She's a very gifted British clairvoyant medium, but she is Canadian. We've adopted her. now she's living in Montreal. Her hubby's been on the Angel Rock before too. Chris Leigh, he's an incredible hypnotherapist, past life and future life regressionist, and he's been on numerous times too. But Debbie is a British clairvoyant medium and creator of her own multiple oracle decks. She can be found on most social media platforms, and her website, which is vibrational-energy.com. Welcome, ladies. Do you want to tell people about your Facebook and YouTube, Debbie, too, where people can watch as well?
Well, fingers crossed, because without your aid and assistance and the safety net, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So I have it on my YouTube channel, which is Debbie A. Anderson, Vibrational Energy. And hopefully it might have actually just gone to my personal Facebook page. So apologies if that's the case. But most people are friends with me on my personal one. It's not that different to my business one. So fingers crossed, but and it's always a pleasure being here with you.
Go ahead. Sorry, honey. I forgot I have a bit of a delay. Please continue.
I was just saying it's a pleasure to be here with you too. And it feels like we haven't connected in quite a while because of different things that have been going on in all our three lives. Plus what's been going on in the spiritual world.
I want to tell people before I forget, you are in Mexico. So you guys, if Debbie has any connectivity issues, she usually doesn't, fingers crossed, but if she does and she pops out, she'll be right back. We've already talked about it and ready for it, but I wanted to give that warning heads up. Before we get into discussion, I always love to say hi to everybody that's over here. Poor Leanne, we didn't even say hi yet either. Hi, Leanne. Hi, Sherry over on TikTok. Welcome. Glad to have you here. I see Vector on TikTok. Go ahead, Leanne.
Yeah, I was just like, hi. Yeah, just little old me over here. I'm fine. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Everything's good.
We're glad to have you here. So we got 3 countries here tonight, guys. We got Canada here. We've got Atlanta to the right of me, I guess, the right, depending on what you see, with Leanne, and we got Debbie in Mexico. So you got 3 countries. I did highlight Mish tonight. She popped in early, so before we were going live, we were trying to figure out a few tech things. I scampered over to my TikTok not TikTok, YouTube, to comment back to her. She said, "Good day, Lorilei. Good day, Debbie. Good day, Leanne. Have a great show. We'll have to listen later." So hang on, let's go a little further. We've got Benno from Oz. Hi, Benno. Nice to have you here. Gotta always give Heidi Gall a big, huge shout out. I don't know how this girl does it. She follows all of our shows on the network. She puts a giant post together with every show for every night, and she promotes it. We really appreciate everybody that shares the shows. So thank you. She says, "Hello, Lorilei, Debbie, and Leanne. I'm much love from Boulder, Colorado. Driving in a minute and listening." So welcome. Oops. Oh God, I'm telling you, my computer, we're not in retrograde, are we? I don't usually believe in that, but
I don't know. I don't know. I just came out of a time fog. So I don't know. Today is wonderful is all I can say.
We got lots of weird tech stuff going on. So we got Astrolight Paranormal, Victoria Cheeseman, who was on last week on the Angel Rock. She says, "Hello, Lorilei, Debbie, and Leanne." We got Vet Girl saying hi all, and she is actually over on TikTok too. I just saw her as well, Sherry. Everybody saying hi to one another, which we love. I don't know why. You know what? This is crazy, StreamYard. Quit putting up your QR code as I'm trying to scroll. It's trying to advertise to me to share the StreamYard QR code to everybody. It's crazy. Oh, we got Julia Evans. She's over in the UK, so I know it's late over there. She says, "Hi, all. Thank you for joining us tonight." We got Carrie Fast. So welcome. And again, thank you for joining. Let's see. Oh, the other thing I should tell you guys, I forgot too. UPRN is in the middle of revamping our website. So I hear through the grapevine we're going to be having a chat room. So that's another way people can interact, and possibly a merch store. But if you want to find our website, you can listen live from there. It's www.uprntalkradio.com. Yeah, Julie Jean Bassett. I always give Julie a shout out. I know she knows Leanne. I don't know if you know her, Debbie. Do you know Julie?
I don't know. I probably do. There's lots of people I know, but I don't know.
We love Julie. Leanne connected me with Julie, and Julie is an incredible animal communicator. She's one of my mentors. She does have a beginner animal communication course coming up. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's February 21st and 22nd. And I highly recommend to take it. I've taken it. It's fantastic. She's also a pet medium. She can communicate with your animals. I know she's worked with many of mine. Carrie Lynn has worked with her. Many other people have. And if you've got one of those animals that you are just not sure, why are they doing what they're doing? Like, you're pulling your hair out. Julie is your lady, and including with the communication, she's able to provide a lot of energy healing for your pets. So if you want to connect with her with the pet things, you can get a hold of her at juliejeanbassett.com. She's also an incredible shamanic practitioner, and she was on the Angel Rock a couple months ago. Some of the courses she is taking, she's blowing my mind with the things she's learning and doing. So you guys, I'm telling you, connect with her. There's so many things she can help human-wise too. She's also a medium, whether it's animals or human beings, and spirit as well. So you can get a hold of her for that on whitetailshamanichealing.com. Hang on, let's keep going here. Everybody's just saying hi to one another. We love that. We have the nicest chat room here, I swear we do. Everybody's so kind, same as if there's new people here. Yeah, I seen something about Kevin. Where did Kevin go? Z-Sun Dragon. I saw him in the comments. It says I didn't see Kevin. Hang on, where did I see that? Something about Kevin. He was here. I always call him by his muggle name. There he is. I knew he was here. Z-Sun Dragon's here, so welcome. Hang on, let's go. Oh, we got Contessa Martin's here. Welcome. Thank you all for being here. Let's see. Lisa Martinello's here too. Welcome. Let's see. We're getting closer to the bottom, ladies. Hang on here. Thanks for your patience. But we got to say hi to everybody. Oh, we got somebody from New Zealand I didn't recognize. And we got Melissa. Looks like X1H2Q says hi. It's Melissa in New Zealand. Well, welcome. I know it's Tuesday morning over there. So welcome, welcome. Let's see. Am I missing anybody? Oh, we got Mort Ali here. I should highlight you. Sorry, Mort. Hang on. I usually don't because it never plays nice when I'm scrolling, but we started it, so I thought, why not continue? Yeah, so Julie's saying animal communication workshop on February 21st and 22nd from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, and she's also got a animal chakra class tomorrow night. It looks like on February 17th or February 28th. Guys, that is an incredible course. I took that as well. I know chakras, as we all do, all three of us very well, but animals have an extra chakra. And there was actually, believe it or not, a vet taking that course. I was so blown away. Gave me so much hope for the future. Really, really. Hang on, we are almost at the bottom here. I think we are. Let's let me check TikTok over here. Oh, Sherry says she's just bored and scrolling. Glad I came across your live. Haven't joined one in quite some time. Well, we're glad to have you here. Yeah, there were problems on StreamYard last night, Sherry. Yes, I know there was. And thank you for sharing to your groups. We appreciate that so, so much. So thanks for your patience, ladies. So I'm going to tell people, I talk about you both on the show quite often. Like I said, these ladies are the sisters I never had. They are my soul sisters. And we connect with spirit, and without getting too deep into it, we kind of get a little bit of guidance, and whatever way we're directed, we kind of go in that direction. Sometimes we get some direction for the future, some healing with the earth and what have you. But the thing is, it's not just us. There's many people doing that, but it's kind of really pulled us into this little trio, hasn't it? I'll start with you, Leanne. What do you? Oh, 2 extra chakras. Sorry, I forgot to add that, Julie. Sorry, 2 extra chakras. Thank you. You are right. Anyways, I'll start with you, Leanne. Right? Would you add anything to that?
It's a wonderful bond. It's a great friendship, and we discuss everything and anything in between. It's really fun. It's such a beautiful connection to have. It's everything I've ever wanted, honestly. We get together and we talk about like how we've been, what's going on in our lives in a personal matter, because I mean, it does affect you. It's not just like, hey, let's get together and get down to business. We actually do talk about, well, what's gone on, what's happened. We support each other, and then we also have business. So it's really just the greatest thing. It really is. It's wonderful. So
it is. And what do you want to add, Debbie, to that? What do you want to add? Because you were the one that brought me in years ago, and then we kind of evolved into the 3 of us. So what do you want to add to that?
Well, Leanne just said it correctly, because, it has to be who we are as individuals, and who we are as individuals becomes our spiritual connection as well as our human connection. So when you put that together, it's all encompassed, which was what I was sort of saying to you today when I had my little rant. I had to have a little rant today about things that have been going on in my life, and I'm very, very blessed. Don't get me wrong, my life is extremely blessed. But sometimes when the shift hits the fan, it affects everything. And sometimes it takes us in that dive, as they call it. And, we struggle, all of us struggle, not just, as you call people muggles. Everybody struggles, regardless.
I call everybody muggles. That's my favorite name for Kevin.
We're all muggles. But sometimes there's this. Sorry, I'm realizing that my sunlight, I should have allowed for the sun changing direction here. That we forget that we're human first, and we have to interact with all those human things, and that really can drag us down without realizing it. So I'll leave it open to you guys to sort of add or deflect or put anything else towards that, because I think it's important that we don't forget that side of ourselves.
We just got from Carrie saying, wow, she is really in light. And Kevin's adding Z Sun Dragon, the power of 3. I saw that earlier. Thank you, Kevin. He said the power of 3, soul sisters, awesome as you all are. Thank you. Oh, Debbie, I haven't seen you in forever. I was just thinking about you, actually. Got Debbie Grassberger Schmoley here. We had a few other people pop. Yeah, she says, hello, ladies. There was somebody, I've been highlighting you for someone's talking. Joanna Childs is here too. So hello. There is a question before we continue on with that. I think it's a quick one we could probably answer, probably more for Julie. But Benno is saying, I have wild magpies. Some I have fed since they were little. Should I try to pet them or not? Any thoughts on that? I have thoughts, but I thought I'd ask you ladies if you do.
Well, go ahead, Leanne, because I'm sort of mulling that over in my head of where I would go with it. Go for it.
Okay, my thought was, can you have them come closer, or how close do they get to you, and then maybe like on your hand, start slowly, then maybe try to pet them. I don't know how, how far you are in that endeavor of trying to pet them, but just like, will they come closer to you, or how close do they come? Yeah.
So my answer would be, and I'm going to, from what I've been taught.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Debbie. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, from my perspective, it's iguanas. And they can be several feet long, like 3 or 4 feet long. Okay. And, they're not the prettiest of creatures on the planet. I always call them modern day dinosaurs because that's what they look like. And by our dining room window, we have a lot of bamboo trees growing there. And they sometimes get onto the window ledge and try and open the screen. And I don't want an iguana in my dining room. So I do feed them lettuce and, fruits and stuff on the window ledge. Would I want to pet one? Not really. I like to see them through the glass at a distance. So with the magpies, I don't know. We've had hummingbirds come in and things like that. And if they want to be with you or on you, then they're going to do it. So, maybe sit some patience and just sit there and wait.
My suggestion, Benno, we were getting a lot of animal communications. Hi, Sherry Madigan. I see you there. He says they come up close, can hand feed some of them. So I'm going to go from an animal communication perspective. And this is what I've learned from Julie and from other people and from my own practice. But what my suggestion would be, and I believe that we all can communicate with animals. I believe it's our birthright. So what I would do is sit quietly with them. You don't have to say this out loud. You can think it. And it's going to take a little while to maybe learn to trust it. But, if you can ground yourself, you can just imagine yourself hugging a tree if you want. Imagine tree roots growing out your feet. You're just going to get kind of calm and peaceful, right? Easy breathing. And then think within your head and ask, can I pet you? Listen quietly and listen to what you hear. Don't question it. It could be yes. It could be no. If it's a yes, certainly you can put your hand out gently. Like you said, they come up close and you can hand feed them and see if one will choose to kind of step forward. That would be my advice to you, because they're obviously used to you if they will let you hand feed them, but they may not appreciate you petting them. So see what you hear. If you hear a no, respect it. If you hear a yes, move very slowly, very calmly. I would personally, what I'm feeling is extending the hand, like I said, moving maybe a little closer, and then just sit still with it. Relax, breathe, and see what happens. You may pick up other things that the bird may send you as well. They maybe want to talk to you about something else. It may say, no, not right now, but maybe another time. And again, it's hard to trust that inner voice, right? Because we've never been taught to trust that inner voice, but we all have it. And we pick up a lot of things from animals that we don't realize that we do. And Benno's adding, yep. And so that's the answer, I guess, to your question. Kevin's saying, if grown, then go with your instincts. Yes, if the animals are grown. So is there anything else you ladies want to touch? We've got something about a pet rabbit here too.
Magpies are known for their stealing abilities. So
it is telepathy, Benno.
So just be aware if you're putting your hand out or your finger out, they may think that the finger is to be taken.
That's why I said hand out, but he hand feeds them already. So just extending your, I wouldn't stick my finger out to them, but having your hand flat on
It could be.
something. If they're accepting the food by hand, right? I would put my hand flat. But that's a good point, Debbie. I wouldn't be sticking my finger because, yeah, might bite it. So Benno's saying, yeah, it's like telepathy. But that is what it is. We are capable of telepathy as human beings. Okay. I think that once upon a time ago, we used to communicate that way. We are very capable of telepathy, and that is how animals communicate. Mm-hmm.
I don't know
So,
what the spiritual connection is with magpies, so maybe look that up, the person that was asking about magpies,
yeah.
because it might be more of a spiritual connection.
Yes.
So, like
What do you
each animal, bird has a connection. I know if I see an animal or a bird more than normal, and it keeps on sort of being in my face per se, then I look it up and see what the spiritual connection is, that maybe I'm missing that interpretation because I'm not hearing it. So that's another possibility.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's a great idea. How about you, Leanne? Was there anything you wanted to add? Because actually, you guys remind me, and I forget about that because I do get a lot of animals coming up to you. And either one of you have reminded me numerous times. I think it was you last year, Leanne, with the bees, wasn't it? You kept reminding me of the bees that kept coming around to go look up what's the spiritual meaning of a bee. So, yes, that was a wonderful idea. I didn't even think of that. Thank you.
You're
I think
welcome.
that's right. Let me add this. I did look it up. And here, I'll just read this quickly.
Oh,
Magpies carry complex, dualistic spiritual meanings, representing intelligence, transformation, and communication, often serving as messengers between the spiritual and physical worlds.
wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then
There you
maybe
go.
the person that saw the magpies or is feeding the magpies needs to see if at any point when they're feeding or around the magpies that anybody that's in spirit comes to mind at that point, because that might be the communication. Possibility. Keep an open mind.
He says he loves that, but he said they can be aggressive. I was reading, he said when he was a little kiddo, they actually pierced his ears, not with permission. That's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Hi,
Sharp
Michelle.
little beak.
Ooh.
I'm going to say hi to Michelle Wilfong. I got to give her a huge shout out. She's over on TikTok. She is my mod on TikTok. She is incredible. She does such a fantastic job. I kept flipping over there. Now that I know Michelle's over there, we're in good control. You guys check her out on TikTok. She has her own TikTok channel called My Haunted Apartment, and she gets quite a bit of activity where she lives. So please support her because she's just a phenomenal mod. So, I'm sorry, Barb, you mentioned this earlier. So I'm going to go back a little bit. I saw your comment. I didn't get a chance to highlight it. So give me one sec. Because she said, I recently lost my pet rabbit. She said it was 9 years old in her most recent comment. She said, I talk to him all the time. Is there any other way to communicate with him that either one of you ladies might suggest?
Talking is how I communicate. I mean, that's how I communicate, is if they're with me in the room. So
Yeah, as if they're there. Yeah. Because they're not
Yeah.
really gone, they're still with us. So agree.
The other thing, go ahead, Debbie. I've got a bit of a delay. Please continue.
No, I just said I agree with Leanne because they never really leave us. You know, the animals are always around us, especially if they loved us and we love them, they'll hang around. And if you're anything like years ago, we had purchased a house, and the ground in the basement area, there was one room that was absolutely covered in dog hair, and that was where somebody kept their pet dog all the time. So we cleaned it out, took the carpets out, put new flooring in and everything. And then like a week later, there were like balls of hair. There was no way those balls of hair could get there. So I'm like, okay, I'm now going to sit and find out what this animal wants me to do because I'm allergic to pet hair. So it was not a good environment for me to be in. And it was obviously a dog that had passed and just wanted to know that that's where he had been and that was his life. That was where he lived. So after that, no more balls of dog hair. thankfully.
What I was going to add too is, and I have caught many, same thing, not same situation. That was a really incredible, Debbie. Is that when my son was alive, my youngest son, Justin, he was so bonded with his kitty, and his kitty had something very, very rare that passed away very quickly. And that night, we were all devastated. She was a young cat, and she had something called a saddle thrombus. There's no way to fix it. And it was very, very sad. There was no way it could have been caught. Anyways, that night, and our bedroom in the old house used to be in the basement. And Justin and I were coming downstairs together that night, and I opened the door to our bedroom, and both of us heard clear as a bell. Her name was Mocha. Mocha meow right away. And then for the longest time, like my son was a big, big boy when he was alive, and he lost 70 pounds over that. Like it was terrible. He had the weight to lose, but still, like he did not do well with that loss. But I always tucked him in every night. And even when he was growing up, because he had autism, for anybody new listening, he was, with no disrespect, very much like a 5 to 8 year old precocious child that could do some things but still needed mom for everything. Anyways, when I tucked him in every night, because Mocha used to sleep with him, I swear, and if he was still alive, he'd tell you the same thing, where Mocha used to sleep, we'd get him all, comfy in his bed, and you'd feel kind of a plop, and then you'd see a bit of an indent on the bed. And Mocha was there for a long, long, long time. Lastly, the other thing I'd love to add is, even though you're talking to your rabbit, if you can, same advice, if you can get into a quieter space, just be open. See what you might hear in the mind's eye or the mind space. See if you're hearing anything back, because our animals never leave us, like you guys, like you had mentioned, Debbie. Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Let me add this. The dog I had previous to the current ones I have, she
Zelda?
passed away. Zelda, yes. She passed away in July of 2017. After she passed away, of course, I was devastated. And I did one of, like, it was like how to connect with like your animal spirit guide, because I had this very strong feeling even when she was alive. She was my animal spirit guide. It was the strangest feeling. Anyway, so when she was gone, I knew that she would be there for me. Well, I did one of these connect with your animal spirit guide meditations I found on YouTube, and I was sitting in the floor with my back against the couch. I could feel her come up to me. She stumbled over my legs. I had my legs stretched out in front of me. She stumbled over my legs and she came right up to me. I mean, it was amazing. So maybe you try one of those if that's something that it was powerful. I mean, like I just now remembered it as Lorilei was speaking, and it was very powerful and beautiful. So maybe think about that.
Julie's adding. Sorry, I have quite a delay, so forgive me, ladies. Anybody listening, I know the ladies know, but just in case, you guys, it seems like there's a pause, so forgive me. So Julie added, absolutely, the animals in our lives are always around, and then she said, yes, they're often our guides. Now, Barb added, she said, sorry, I got to go back here. Thank you so much, ladies. And then Victoria said, my beloved kitty passed away last summer. She is now part of my spirit team. I connect with, sorry, I got to look over here. I don't have my glasses on, guys. Forgive me. She said, you just got to get this just in the right space, guys. Forgive me. Sorry. Said, I connect with her in meditation daily. I always called her my soulmate. Victoria, that's beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. But Debbie Grassberger Schmoley, how could I forget this? Speaking of this, what's going on here, I have to say it, because Debbie says we definitely have seen them after they pass. And how could I forget this? So years ago, when I was in my old house and I was talking to Debbie on video, and she was in her bedroom, and I said to her, Debbie, did you used to have a cat that laid on the pillow next to you? And she said, oh, yeah, that was my cat, Boo, and very sadly, I think you said she, if I'm not mistaken. LOL. Debbie's going, she's going, you couldn't forget. You'll know why in a minute. She goes, yeah, that was my cat, Boo, very sadly. I think it was a she. Please forgive me if I get it wrong, Debbie. But she said they passed away about a year ago. I said, I swear to God to you, Debbie, I am sitting here watching on our live video this see-through cat. The cat just looked at you when you said the name. That tail, I'm getting goosebumps as I'm telling you guys. The tail was flicking, and she's going, take a picture, take a picture, take a picture. So I took a picture, and it came up in a memory, I think last year, didn't it, Debbie? You sent it to me because I had it on old devices. I couldn't find it. I've talked about it numerous times. And she noticed her other cat was behind the other cat.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
love
I didn't. It was crazy, 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 crazy. So hang on, I just want to unstar that. So, but that's the same way with all of our loved ones, right, guys? Like our loved ones. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bob,
they come back around.
Mm-hmm.
I remember many years ago doing a private group, and this lady had recently got married, and I said to her, but he was in the photos. It was actually the husband who had died. The wife was getting remarried many years later, and she wasn't quite sure how he would feel about it. And it was the daughter that was asking. And I said, he was in the photograph. And she said, no, he wasn't. I said, he stood in the photographs. I said, usually if you see a little green splotch or something like that on the photos. So she went through all the photos again because she said, no, I don't think so. And he said, well, he said he was, and you'll see him. He came back and he was in 3 photos, and you could almost, it was like a shadow in one and a greeny colored splotchy thing in another. And she said, I said, that was his way of saying he's happy for you. Like your dead husband comes back to your marriage to your new husband as a way of saying, I'm really happy for you.
But we have those questions. We get those questions, don't we? That, you know, and I know we've all used these terms with people that we work with, but we're here to have a human experience, right? Like we go on forever. But the way I've explained it is we've agreed to accept the role. Like I've agreed to play the role of Lorilei, you as Leanne, you as Debbie. But that's not really who we really are as a soul. So to remind people, and it relates to what you shared, Debbie, is we're looking at things with human eyes. And I've had many conversations with clients and in sessions where people don't understand that, right? Like, so they would never be able to understand, well, why would my husband who passed away show up in my pictures while I'm getting married to somebody else? Because we're pure love on the other side. We want the best gift we can give our loved ones is to live a life that is joyful and happy and fulfill our purpose that we're here. And I often say to my clients, and I'd love to hear from you ladies as well, that, you know what, ask your loved ones, even if it is, say, your husband or your wife or your partner, whoever that's no longer with us, ask them to help send somebody to you if you're lonely, and you know, they will. So I'm going to ask Leanne first, then I'll ask Debbie. Leanne, go ahead. What's your thoughts?
I wanted to add on to what one of Julie's comments was, which was she's already had one of her pets come back to her 2 times now. And that's exactly with the dog that I was talking about that had passed away. I think she's reincarnated and she's with me now, and my current dog. And I mean, I could sense it, and it was around the dates that the one passed away. And then it was when I went to the animal shelter to find a rescue dog, she looked just like the dog I had previously. It was the day after my previous dog had passed away. It was the day that that place opened, and that was the day of her birth date. And I'm like, okay, this is the same dog, same spirit. This is the same spirit. And and it was, and as a matter of fact, like, so the last dog, her name was Zelda. And as a nickname, I called her Zelda Pooh Bear. So
Oh,
I had this,
that's why she's named that.
yes. And so it was like,
I love it.
the current dog, her name is Pooh Bear. It's just
Pooh
Pooh
Bear.
Bear. I love
Mhm.
her. Yeah, so there you are. Anyway, okay,
Mhm.
go ahead.
So Kevin is saying loving chat and panel stories of past pets. Julie
Yeah.
just said awesome, Leanne. But I want to ask you then, Debbie, what are your thoughts? Because you do a lot of mediumship, and obviously we all do. We do this kind of stuff. But have you found the same thing from the other side when it has to do with partners? And
I've experienced, like, I call upon my dad, who passed the spirit quite a few years ago, when I'm in what I call a conundrum. And usually the conundrum is shaking the fist up to spirit. Help me with this. I need your direction. Usually I don't go with ease and grace. It's usually kicking and screaming, because by that time I've tried all the other ways and I'm like, what the sparkle. And that is how sometimes it's almost like I get this out of the blue thought, or this out of the blue something, pops up on my screen when I'm scrolling through my on my Facebook page, or Facebook messages or things like that, or if I just happen to be on my what I call idling time, because sometimes when we can't get the answers, it's like, what else am I going to do? I've tried meditation, that's not worked. I've tried sitting down and writing it out. I've tried all, I do the what I call the tried and tested ways, and then usually it's a shake the fist to the sky and saying, come on, spirit, just send me the answer, because I'm fed up with doing this over and over again. So usually at that point when I get it, it's almost like, well, it took you long enough to ask us, kind of thing. And I'm like, but I've been asking. And I think that is where we all go wrong. We haven't directly asked them, I need help with this. We sometimes put it up as a, one of those avant-garde, out there kind of things, and hope that somebody's going to catch that little feather that's floating in the wind and help us. Sometimes we've got to be very direct. And that, for me, is how, especially
I was
late.
just, oh, go ahead, Leanne.
And I was going to say, and it almost sounds like a lot of times we ask as the last thing, when it should be, why don't you just ask first and not put yourself through all that mess? I do it too, but it's funny. It's like, yeah, that's how that goes. Just ask at the beginning. That would be so much easier.
Well, I will tell you though, since my son passed away, like with remote viewing, I've had joined a team. I'm no longer with it at the moment, but I will join another one, or even start doing some of this work on my own. But with remote viewing, and we were finding lost and missing children, always called Justin, or I call him Jesse. I've called Justin in to help me, or if they're went through a pretty rough time before Christmas till just in the last couple of weeks, things are starting to get a bit better. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to him or my team. Like when I get in the car, first thing I say always is, angels, please be with me in the car. Please protect me as well as all the cars around me. I hear an ambulance or a fire engine or police car. I always put it out there, please, Spirit, if you can, send angels and guides to be with whomever is in distress and need of this. But we do forget to ask, and that's the thing, right? I truly believe each and every one of us is able to connect intuitively in some way. We're not all the same. None of us are the same, but we have to remember to ask and to give permission, right? I am open to receiving the help, but we're not. I think part of the problem is we've never been taught this since infancy, that this is an option, right? So it's trying to go slumber, sort of log through the humanness, and then all of a sudden realizing, oh, I have that connection to the other side. I can ask. What do you think? Yeah.
Well, let me bring up this question here. This is something that I definitely asked Lorilei, and we've discussed, and we've said we've actually wanted to bring it up on air, and we keep forgetting. So here it is. How do you pray? And if you say, like, God, send angels with that ambulance, because I would do that too. God, please be with them, go with them, or something to that effect. But I had someone make a comment to me a few years ago that has me questioning everything, which is there's a belief that you do not pray for someone if they didn't ask for it. That's like spell casting. Like you are doing something they didn't ask for. And it really kind of bothered me because I thought, well, I would not intentionally do that. But I'm thinking, if to anyone who would accept this, I'm requesting that
Mhm.
help be out there. That's kind of how I took it. But so how do you pray? And then what do you think of requesting help and for others?
Mhm.
I have an answer, and then Debbie, if you want to answer, but what I had said to you is it's the same thing. I had someone give me a really hard time a few years ago in a chat because when I'm out, and I use an example, I was at the doctor's office, my eldest son was with me, and this woman was losing it, just screaming and yelling and slamming her hands on the desk. I knew the receptionist quite well. I felt so sorry for him. And so all I did was very, very quietly and sort of secretly, but sent her the Reiki symbol for healing. And my eldest son knows what that is. He's grown up with the quote unquote woo woo. So he texted me and said, are you sending healing? And I said, yes. And he joined me. But he also has been taught enough to know the same thing and the reason why I did it. So the person that commented said, how dare you? You never send Reiki unless it's asked for. But I think it's in the way that we phrase it. So I sent it with the intention, if her higher self was open to accepting it, please accept. If not, send it on its way into the ethers of the universe, and somebody else's higher self will find it that needs it and is open to receiving it. It's the same way I feel about prayer, right? Sending it with the intention that if the person or the highest self is open to receiving that comfort and that love from an angel or a guide or a prayer, great. But it was a good question, Leanne, that you asked. I'm dying. I know Debbie's got things to say. I can hear from spirit. But where I'm adding with this, but holding the intention that if that person is open to receiving it. And I think that when we're doing something in the way of love and holding it in, for somebody's highest good, I don't think we can go wrong. But what do you think, Debbie?
Well, see, you said it right there with what is the intention that we're
Yes.
doing it with?
Yes.
Like, what is our intention behind sending that healing or sending that prayer or sending that into the universe? What is our intention behind it? Is it to quieten down the woman? Is it to try and make the receptionist not feel so disgruntled, or is it just to see if there's somebody in her higher realms that can just, go to her and say, look, I know you're upset. I know you're angry. I know you're frustrated, but it's not going to get you anywhere at this point.
Yeah.
So I think it's what intention, it's like everything with intention. If our intention is to try and help everyone in that situation, because maybe the people in the waiting room were also feeling uncomfortable because we know there's been situations
They were. The
somebody
whole
has
room.
pulled a gun or a knife or, gone batshit, sorry, bat crazy and done something. So yes, there's all of those anxieties in there. So with the intention of that, I think that everybody in the angelic realms would have helped to calm the situation, if not just for that woman, but for everybody there, and to assist as much as they could. And of course, none of us know what was going on with that woman's life and whether she had good reason to or no good reason to, because that's not for us to judge. But it's the intention in what we said when we send it. So if I'm sending, because I got told something similar years ago, is you can't send healing to somebody unless they've requested it. And I said, oh, okay. Well, then what if I send healing to everyone in the universe? And it just sprinkles down to whomever it's supposed to go to, who's ready to receive it. Because it's not for my intention to change something if somebody doesn't want to change it themselves, which is where we sort of get into that intention again.
No, but the thing is, okay, it must have been she heard, whether it was herself or her higher self open to it. It was like watching a balloon deflate. I
Yeah.
swear to you, it was like she was like at a 10 out of 10. And I really felt so sorry for the receptionist, like I said. So it was meant, you could tell the whole room was tense and scared and worried. It was in a small room. And it was almost like somebody had just taken the most gentle of a little poke to poke the balloon, and the balloon deflated. She calmed down. The energy in the room went down. But it was a really good question that you brought up, Leanne, because there's three of us here, and I bet there's more in the chat. I see you, Michelle. Welcome. She said she just popped in, sending healing, and she said everyone love to you all. So thank you. Janet Brimson's here. I'm going to read your comment in just a minute.
Oh,
We all know
hi,
her. She said, I send universal healing regularly, like Debbie was saying. Yes, and we do. And I think it's with the intention. But we have all run into this scenario. And I'm sure other people do too. But I always say, like when I'm teaching and mentoring with people too, I do not think you can go wrong if in the way that you phrased it and the intention behind it, and you are coming from a place of love and holding it for the space for it coming from, somebody's highest good. That is your intention. Like, it's not like you need to calm down now, and that's why I'm sending that Reiki to you, and you better calm down. That wasn't the intention. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Leanne.
So then let me add this to when I said, how do you pray? Here's the example I always give, just to say this so that you can kind of know where I was going with this. Let's suppose you have an acquaintance. This is not a really, really good friend that you know very, very, very well. And they say, please pray for me. Please pray for my marriage. And that's all they say. Well, it just had me thinking, well, what am I praying for? Am I praying for a marriage, a bad marriage, a divorce? What am I praying for? And I know that might sound like, well, you idiot, you pray for something positive, but it was like, well, no, really, what did you want me to pray for? So I really end up just saying, I give this to you, God, because I don't know all of the details, but God does. So I give this to you. I hand it to you. Take it, do with it, and then that way it's just, yeah, because it's I don't know the details, and I'm not going to put a lot of energy on that, because that in itself is kind of ruminating. So it's like, no, give it to God. There you go. All right.
See, I love that because that's something I say quite a lot for myself. I'm going to give it up to God, because if I can't handle the situation or I can't change it, and I've asked, then it has to be given up to God, because that's the only equivocal way to deal with it from that point on. Otherwise, you're going to, go crazy. And yeah, I understand what you're saying with the, pray for my marriage, or pray for this, or pray for that. It's like, what are you asking for? Is somebody saying, can you send healing prayer for my mother's recovery, or, whatever? That's a bit different. But yeah, it's like, you want the marriage to end?
You know what? I just realized in something I was saying there, like if somebody were to say, pray for my marriage, I very much take people at their words. I literally take you at your word. So it's, what am I praying for? So then I'm, okay, this situation, whatever this is, and I don't try to add into it or guess what it is.
But I think that's part of what we say when we say we hold the space, right? You hold the space in the fact that you hold for the best intention, least amount of hurt, most amount of healing, with love, whatever that may be. And the easiest way is, like you said, depending on what someone's belief system is. For the three of us, we believe in God. There's no right or wrong way for anybody listening. It could be to the universe, it could be to whomever your highest good is. And even if you don't have a belief system, like I say, the universe, the situation, whatever it may be, like Mish said, I'd like to send healing to the space people are in. If I can't ask, Jean Bassett says, I pray for the highest good for all concerned. Absolutely. And I'm going to read the last comment, then we got to do our station ID. It goes by so quick, ladies. So Carrie says, you can pray for my divorce. I'm good. You're all invited to the party.
Okay. All right. I got it. All right.
Congratulations,
if that's the case.
Been there, done that. Well, let me do that. She goes, it's actually
Promise,
biblical.
but that's okay.
She
Moving
says
on.
it's actually biblical to edify each other in love. Okay, hold that
Yeah.
thought, everybody. We got to
Yeah.
do the station ID. So if you're just tuning in, you're listening live to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network, or just UPRN. And you can listen to us on 105.3 FM in the Gulf Coast in Mississippi and 107.7 FM out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana, where we're actually broadcasting from. None of us are in New Orleans, by the way. We got 3 countries here. I'm in Canada. I guess I should reintroduce myself too. I'm Lorilei Potvin. You are listening to the Angel Rock or watching live. My soul sisters here with me, and from 2 other countries and closest friends. To the right, Leanne. She just scooted out for a sec. She's actually in Atlanta in the US. And Miss Debbie A. Anderson at the bottom is in Mexico. So you got 3 countries here. You guys, there's we stream several shows daily live, 7 days a week. We're always adding new hosts and new shows. There really is something for everybody on this network. It's not all just UFO and paranormal. Hang on, I have to grab a sip here. The other thing,
That's a good idea.
what's that? Yeah, I needed to. I was getting a dry mouth. Yes, we're glad that you tuned in. There's more to come after this show. We will be done around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Dolly Saffron and Preston Dennett coming up next with The Light Gate. There's another show after that. So if you guys like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family about this network. The more, the merrier. We have the best chat here. Wonderful, wonderful souls from all over the world, and we're glad that you can join us. So let's continue. We're going all over. We knew we kind of connected before we said, what are we going to talk about? And I never worry about that. I just said, we're never at a shortage when the 3 of us get together on air or off air. And on top of that, you know what? It's nice when you guys join the chat. You guys always add so much to the conversation. And if we can answer your questions or you guys share your thoughts and feedbacks back, it makes for an excellent conversation, in my opinion. Anyways, what do you ladies think?
I think it's amazing because it helps us to interact, and it helps those that are interacting know that they're being heard.
I'm going to add this. We got Michelle DeRoche here, who is our station manager. Michelle, were your ears ringing? I was talking about you at the beginning of the show. Michelle is the host of 2 shows here on the network on Tuesdays. She has Beyond the Outer Realm from 2 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. She also has The Outer Realm on Wednesday and Thursday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thursday night, I will be joining her on her show, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to do part 2. And we are going to be talking further about I hate the word conspiracy theory. I'm going to say truth seeking, digging into the information about Paul versus Paul McCartney to see if he actually continued on after the 1967 horrific car crash he had, or was he replaced by Billy Shear? So she also added, we have 7 new shows coming in the next 60 days. Wow. That brings us up to 45 live shows, you guys. Wow. So how incredible is that? Yes. Way to go, Mish. I'm super excited. Can't wait to see what the new shows are all about. So thanks for sharing that. Okay, back into our conversation here, ladies. I'm just checking over on TikTok. People are going, Sherry says, I do volunteer healing at my local spiritual and metaphysical church. That's nice to share that with us, including Carrie says she's having a divorce party. Carrie, you're going to have to let us know when you have that divorce party. Like I said, been there, done that. Some of us have. So
survive, I think, is what we should add. Survive. Because that's the big thing about it. You know, some people see it as, you know, a failure or the end of something. It is, but it's also the beginning of something new. And that's our choice, and the choice of our partners as well. So, and our friends, because that can be a dividing factor as well. I know that happened, and, you know, friend for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. So it's okay.
Oh, it's happened. It happens. Go ahead, Leanne. Please add.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm going to be a little punchy here, but my last relationship breakup, all of the friends were like, yeah, we're going with you. Screw you.
Mhm.
God,
But
look
that
at
doesn't always happen. That doesn't always happen. When I got
No.
divorced, whenever we had a fight, and all the friends
yeah,
my closest friends, every single one of them basically kind of were very unhappy that I decided that it was time to move on. And they weren't necessarily all happy at different parts in their, depending
yeah,
on who you spoke to. Anyways, they all kind of went their own way. And that happens, right? So you don't just lose the relationship. You also
yeah.
can lose like part of your social life and what.
Well,
But I think it was really important what you were talking about, Debbie, that,
Yeah.
and again, we work with clients and have sessions like this. And of course, it can be very painful. It is, especially if there's
mhm,
children involved, whether there is or there isn't. But the point is to look at, when I'm talking to people, I don't know, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Say they come to you and they think, geez, I haven't been with anybody else. I'm really open to having a new relationship. And but some of the advice I've given people over the years coming from Spirit is, first of all, get to know yourself. Who are you? Because the five people we spend the bulk of our time with, science has shown, we become the most like. So who are you? Who are you without this person? What have you
Yeah.
always wanted to do, but maybe never taken the time to do it for yourself?
well,
Yeah.
Take
also,
the Go ahead, Leanne. What were you going to add before I continue?
I will say this, like, I don't think people spend enough time by themselves, period. But people do
Yeah.
not spend enough time by themselves in between relationships. They
Yeah.
move
I
on
agree.
too quickly,
Yeah.
and you don't know, what am I? Who am I? What do I want? What happened? How did I change? Like, yeah,
Mhm.
how did I get to this point? And now you're going to go into a new world, really. I mean, to me, it's a new world. It's a lot of friction. It's at first you would call it a failure, but a lot of times when you get over that hump, it ends up being a very big victory for you. You will find out when you can
Mhm.
get over it. Otherwise, yeah, it's horrible. It's it's
Mhm.
horrible to lose a great relationship, whether it's a friendship or a love interest. It's horrible
Mhm.
losing a relationship. Absolutely. So,
And I think the thing that we've got to remember is don't get back onto the same treadmill with the same things reoccurring. And that's the
Mhm.
hardest part. It's the
yes,
hardest part because it's almost like, I always say to people, first of all, when you're going through a relationship, should I stay, should I go kind of thing, write down all
Mhm.
the things that you like about that person and all the
I
things
was
you don't
just going
like
to
about
say
them.
that. I was saving it. So go ahead, preach, sister.
And it almost has to be the same with a new interest. You know, when I met Chris, I had some very specific questions I had to ask before I even wanted to get involved with him. And, he was quite surprised because at that point, it wasn't really going to, I didn't know if it was going to turn into a love relationship or what it was, but I asked, like, some specific questions. And, for me, it's like, am I going to waste my time, which it isn't, or am I going to go through this just only to find out this was the wrong thing? So, as you say, Leanne, you've got to get to know yourself truly, because were you who you were in the relationship, or were you who that person wanted you to be
Yes.
in the relationship?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's the biggest part
yeah,
of it,
yeah.
and what did you get from that relationship, which was the takeaway?
Yes, I was just going to say this after you were finished. That's part of what, and Contessa's adding, and you're absolutely right. Julie's saying exactly. Debbie Grassberger Schmoley said that I took a year and a half to be by myself and figure out who
Yeah,
I was.
yeah.
And like I say again, Contessa says it's all part of a journey here. It is.
Absolutely.
But the other thing I suggest to people is to look at, especially if the relationship ends badly, to look at, you fell in love with that person. What was it
Mhm.
about that person that made you fall in love? So we
Yeah.
look at that, right? Was that a plus or a minus? We know sometimes that I can only speak from a female perspective, but we go through that bad boy phase where we fall in love with the bad guy. No, but what was it about him that you loved? Or they, I'll say they, not him, they. Right. And then, like you said, Debbie, looking at the end of the relationship, what did you learn? Not just negative, like we can all
No,
be in a pretty negative space, but also the good things. What did
yeah.
you learn? What did you love about that? And then once you get to know who you are, what do you want? What do you want in a partner? Like, what do you want to, and I tell people, be specific, not so specific so you cut out 99% of the population, but be quite specific, because we tend to forget that even though you're in a partnership, it's okay. It can't just be give, 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 right? Sometimes it's got to be give and take, and look at all the things like, how do you want to be treated? What did you not like about that relationship so that you maybe don't manifest that in the future? There's many, many different things. Go ahead, Leanne.
All right, let me speak to the list. I did make a list. I started a list. It was like 2.5 pages long. And
Mhm.
before my now husband, before we got married, I showed him that list. I said, I want you to see this. This is what I've written down. And
He's still married you. I love it.
and I'm still
You
married to
didn't
him.
run?
No, he did not run. He did not run. But there was like one point on that list that he didn't fit. Only one that I can remember
Wow.
that for the longest time was like kind of one of my, something I thought it's not a need, it's a want. And I'm like, no, and it's fine. And it's totally fine. But I think that's a good exercise to make the list, if nothing else, for yourself. Like, what does that mean when you see what you're writing down, what you're thinking about? Like, what are the important things to you?
Yeah.
And no matter what it is, it's important to you. Now, the other thing I would say is this: if there's a bit of a age difference, or if you think there's a bit of an age difference, don't look at it as age. It
Yeah.
is life stage. Are you in the same life stage? And this is how I say it. If you're 40, would you date a 20-year-old right now? God, no. I'm like, exactly. Now, would you date somebody who's 30? Maybe. 32? Maybe. 35?
My
Maybe. Okay.
partner's younger. 5 years younger.
Just as in, do you want someone who's just out of college, starting their life? And no, that's not where I'm at. I'm middle-aged in my career, doing my thing. Okay, you want somebody to meet that energy and that life stage, not having to be somebody's almost parent. But there's things to consider. Obviously,
So
after also considering the person's character and all that other stuff, but other things, other factors to weigh in.
Janet says you can't be ageist if they are cute. I always say, if you're in a relationship, if you're single, fine. But if you're in a relationship, there's nothing wrong with going out for appetizers, meaning using your eyes and appreciating beauty where beauty is, or handsomeness, or cute, or whatever, but come home for dinner. No, Julie adds, not to mention other characteristics that the next partner would not be a narcissist, but would be kind, trustworthy, etc. Otherwise, you might get the same thing as the last time. That is true. But I think there's an important comment here. Carrie Fast is going, oh my God, this is all good. I'm glad that you're finding that helpful. And there probably are people out there that are hearing this at will. So thank you for sharing that, Carrie, because Contessa says this, it's all part of our journey here.
Exactly.
And it is.
Yeah.
And
And
do you want to add to that?
Was something that I will add here. And, for all the things that did not go right in my first marriage, I have to look at all the things that did go right. If I hadn't met my husband when I did, had not had our son when I did, I would not have been able to have children.
Me too.
So maybe that was the reason I met him, fell in love with him, and found all those characteristics of that bad boy, whoever he was, great. But then as the marriage went on, it took me a while to realize this wasn't where I needed to be any longer. It took me nearly 16, 17, 18 years to realize that. I'm a slow learner, okay? I'm a very slow learner, but that's okay.
How about we turn that around? Should we turn that around? I know you got something to add too, Leanne. How about we turn that around? And I choose to look at it is that when I love someone and I care about them, and it is a fault maybe, but I don't give up on them. I know that when I walk away from something, if I have to walk away, I have done everything humanly possible on my part without trying to change somebody else, that I've done everything I possibly could and it's time to go, because
But I'm so
I am
thankful for
loyal.
that. I am so thankful for that relationship. And I am so thankful that my husband came into my life at that time, because we wouldn't have the son. I couldn't have any more children. I
Yeah.
kept on having miscarriages, and then they found fibroids, and it sort of became, how did my son manifest in my uterus to start with if the fibroids were as big as they were? I had to have a hysterectomy. So
Yeah.
all of those things happened in sequence to what obviously spirit wanted. Where did things go from then? Well, it went from bad to amazing to strange to weird to change to this to that and everything else in between. And that is the journey. Like the ups and downs, the ins, the outs, the rounds, and circling backwards. Like there is nothing that has not happened in my life, even though there are some times I would go back and say they were the darkest days of my life, that I would have done anything differently, because that's what I had to learn. That's what I had to experience. That's what I had to come through, the breakthrough, if you like. And I think that's where I don't, there's lots of things I could call my husband that was, because I don't want to keep calling him the ex, because then the X marks the spot kind of thing, that he came into my life for the right reason, for that season, and everything else was as it should be. So I don't have any anger or hatred or anything else, because now it's like he's moved on, hopefully, and I definitely have moved on. So it doesn't matter, which I will bring you to my mother, who divorced my father at the age, I was 4 years of age at the time. And 30 years later, when I was going to meet up with my father, she still had so much hatred for him that I could not believe it. And when I met my father for the first time after so many years, I said to him, I said, do you ever think of Mum? No, I don't. How's she doing? Is she doing well? So he had nothing. So he had not let this ingress and fester in his life. He had moved on. And she is still festering, even though my father has died, because when he was dying, like 40, 50 years later, she wanted to know how much money he was leaving her in his will. That's how much festering my mother has done and still does. So what I'm saying is, do you want to fester or do you want to grow? Like, let it go. Like, appreciate what it was that brought you together and what you experienced, learned, whatever it is, even if it was learn never to do that again, and then move on. Because if not, you're dragging that baggage with you and nothing ever changes. Because whatever relationship you get into, you're going to have the other relationship dragging with you. And that's going to be the knife that you cut in where you're just like him or you're just like her.
Yeah, but the thing is, Debbie, is too, that when we carry, like, I think you made the point that's important, is your father hadn't thought he'd truly moved on. But when we carry that negativity and that hatred and the anger, I mean, it can affect you physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Could go on and on and on, and then you live your life and you've wasted it on such, like there's this saying, don't let say it's an enemy or someone that's hurt you live rent free in your mind, because you're not living rent free in their head. And I think it's important what Carrie says here. I have learned to love myself. That's all that counts. But that's part of the journey of understanding, if you can, to spend that time to get to know who we are. Because when we become a couple, whether we believe it or not, and it's not necessarily negative, but we do lose part of ourselves. We do. We really, really do, because, and they lose part of themselves too when you come together as a couple, right? Like Julie's saying, it took me 30 years, and Carrie's adding, me too, Julie, here. I am 51 looking at uncharted territory. And what I might add, I got divorced a little earlier. I was about 43. But what I might add is, how about looking at it, even though it's scary, it might feel scary. How about a new, exciting adventure, a new turn in the road? This is you. You get to make these decisions. The things maybe you've always wanted to do, or explore or travel or courses, anything you want, you get to make those decisions on your own, right? You don't have to worry. You don't have to ask somebody else. Even if I know finances change when you go through that type of thing too, but you can get pretty creative. And again, that's where spirit steps in. That's where we work in partnership. We ask for that help. We forget to ask for that help. We talked about earlier, but we ask for that help and we be open to the possibilities. I have also learned that just because I ask for it doesn't mean it's going to happen or happen in my timing, as well as I have to be open to, and I remind myself this, if it hasn't happened, there's a reason why it didn't happen. Sometimes why things do happen, including my toilet clogging I talked about a couple months ago. Took me 3 hours to unclog. And as I'm plunging it going, I know there's a reason for this, spirit. I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's part of the bigger picture, but we do need this clog moved.
Yeah, let me add on to that though. Like if you
Yeah.
haven't gotten your answer yet or it doesn't come through, I would
Mhm.
say, or just realize you may not know how it's going to come through.
Yeah.
Is what I was going to say. So just, be open, ready, able, willing, and just be open to it. And it will come. You will get an answer, but it may not be the answer you wanted or how you thought it would come.
Mhm.
It's true, because I always say to people, when you're asking for something, so I might say, hey, I want a red Ferrari. Give me a red Ferrari. Come on, bring it on. And
And
spirit
is it a
go,
little toy red Ferrari?
well, no. And this is what I explain to people, that we may not get the red Ferrari because, one, we may not be able to afford to insure it, and we might be scared to run it. So we get the beat up green pickup, but it gets us from A to B, and it's what spirit has given us. So instead of when the beat up green pickup arrives and you go, well, this is not what I asked for,
Be
just
grateful.
be grateful because you got it. You received a mode of transport to get you around, and that's what matters. I was just thinking of your toilet clog. Did you look at the connotations to your own human psyche? I was just thinking
About
before
what?
about being clogged up in that area.
Oh, that was a couple months. That was a couple months ago.
Wait a
I think
minute.
either one of
Wait a
you
minute.
might have reminded me that when we got together. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Wait, Debbie, that's very interesting because I know, Lorilei, I had told you what the bathroom stands for in the house. It is your immune system. So you're
Yeah,
supposed so I'm like, well, that's interesting then.
yeah.
A couple of months ago.
But that's the thing. We also don't remember to look, and we remind each other. We remind each other. Okay. But as a reminder to everybody else out there, like when things, and my rule of thumb, if it's obvious, yes, I usually remember. If it's not, I don't. And I do need reminders. We all do. But when something shows up very quickly, twice in my field of vision or experience, it's time to pay attention. If there's a third time, oh, heck yes, that's a sign from spirit. The other thing I'm going to add for people listening, pay attention to your surroundings and signs and symbols around you. Like
Mhm.
years ago, she's no longer with me. I think she was a reincarnated version of one of my dog's previous, Miley, her name was. She was the exact opposite of Tiffy, who I used to call Demon Spawn because she was evil. Miley didn't have a mean bone in her body, but they looked identical. But when she was a puppy, she had a potty accident and she TT'd, we'll say, on the carpet. And I took a picture of it because it was like she had taken a computer cut heart-shaped silhouette and peed in it. It was the perfect size of a heart. When I show people it, they'll go, there's no way a dog did that. Oh yeah, a puppy did that. So as I started to notice the hearts around me, and I still do to this day, I have an album of them, whether it's a spill, like say a coffee spill, or I found lots of things just on the floor, a little torn piece of paper, they're hearts. And the more I've noticed them, and in meditation and connecting with spirit, I've asked them, if it's meant to be, and you can send me a heart to let me know I'm on the right path or that I continue going in the vein that I am. and they still show up. I have pictures of a box of 20 chicken nuggets, and not from the big Golden Arches at their local pizza store. Inside, perfect heart out of 20 of the
Oh,
nuggets.
wow.
I have found hearts all over the place, and you guys can do that too. Like, right? Spirit will work with you here. They know we're here for this journey. We're not alone, and they're here to help us on our journey. What do you ladies think?
I just thought of this. If you can ask, hey, can you send me a red car? Can you send me a yellow horse? Can you send me a heart? If you can ask for a symbol, then you can certainly ask for help, and it will certainly be given. I'm
Yeah.
seriously, that literally just occurred to me like now, like, wait, if you can ask for a sign, then you can certainly ask for help and know that it will be given. But that's amazing. Asking for signs, they do arrive, and it's very fun. It's a fun thing to experiment with. Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody
Michelle
has their
Wilfong.
own, everybody
Go
has
ahead.
their own sign or symbol that keeps on reoccurring. And I think I've told this story before. Many years ago, somebody asked me, should they immigrate from England to Canada? And I said, well, I don't know, but, put it out to spirit and see what, signs and symbols you get. So she lived in a very small little village, if you like, a very small community. And she happened to be driving around one of the very small lanes, and out pulls this truck in front of her with a big Canadian flag on the back of the truck. And she said to me, do you think that's a sign? You're in England and there's a truck that pulls out in front of you on a little country lane with a big Canadian flag on the back. What do you think? Well, I don't know. And he went on and went on and went on. She kept getting these little, in the end, I said to her, you know what? I think you don't want to immigrate to Canada. And that's where you have to sit down and discuss this with your husband because of the job he's been offered. And they never did. But she then many years later regretted doing that. And I said, but you were given the signs and symbols. It was your decision not to follow them. And this is where we have to remember we have the final say. And if we decide that that's not the right route for us, here's the thing. If we're meant to do it, Spirit will lay it before us at another point in time. Maybe not in the same way, but they will lay it before us. And I always say, you turn it down a second time, you'll be very lucky if it comes up a third. But I don't know. Maybe it can be proven wrong.
I wanted to add, Michelle Wilfong shared on TikTok. She goes, yes, been there. I've received answers. They weren't the ones I was looking for, but I did get the clarity I was seeking. Because I think that's important, because the other thing I tell people, say you ask for a yellow butterfly as a sign, you can ask Spirit will they'll send you the sign, but be open to signs and symbols. Just because you're looking for a yellow butterfly, and right here in Canada right now, it's the middle of winter. Well, I don't expect I'm going to be seeing a yellow butterfly flying by, but maybe there's going to be a billboard with a giant yellow butterfly, or a song about butterflies, or whatever it may be. And Spirit will keep sending it if you're not quite getting it, as you shared in your example, Debbie. But we do have final say. We do have free will. And Barb Gilbert's adding, love it. Now, Carrie said, and this is the big thing, this is the hard one for people, Carrie. I'm so glad you shared this. She said, my biggest lesson is trust your gut. But how do you trust it? Now, I have suggestions, but I would love to hear your suggestions when you're working with people and teaching and mentoring. We all do. What do you suggest to them to help them trust that inner guidance that we all receive in one way or another? If you're thinking about it, I'm happy to add what I tell people, or Debbie or Leanne. Do either one of you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first. Yeah.
Let me go first. Okay, so some of the things that when I'm working and teaching and mentoring with people, is I say start out small. We all have an inner voice. We all do. We do. Some people hear that voice outside the ear, some don't. So some of the things that I suggest to people are the way to tell the difference. Like, I don't hear voices, but I hear it within the mind's eye, I'll call it, or mind space. And I know it's different because it's in my voice, but it speaks differently than I do. It's usually meant with a loving tone, and it uses different wording than I do. I've learned to know the difference. So when we get that inner guidance and learning the difference between that versus ego, right? And we could have done a whole show on ego. But the thing is it meant for someone's highest good or yours? Are you doing it in love, or are there other reasons? That's kind of how you can tell the difference between, and I mean, that's just quick. The other thing is, so what if you gave yourself permission to follow that inner voice, even if it was only for an hour, say, or 2 hours? And say, you had a quandary, you had something you were trying to figure out, and all of a sudden you get that quote unquote stroke of genius. What if you decided to follow it? And I'm not saying something crazy like jumping off, bungee jumping off of a high mountain or something. I'm thinking start small and you follow it, and it turns out exactly the way you expected it would, or it's a positive thing. Start marking down those little victories, which I call like they're validating it for you, right? Spirit can validate it. And as you start to build on that, you start to realize, hey, I heard that inner guidance. I heard that inner voice, and I decided to follow it. Look what happened. And as you start to build on it and you grow and you grow and you grow, you start to learn to know the difference between ego versus your higher self, if you want to call it your guides, whatever you want to call it. We all have that inner voice, right? And you start to follow it. You start to realize that maybe I could start to trust this. Maybe this is my higher self or my guides or my team, right? But the other thing is too, and we all do it, all three of us, and anybody that works in this field in particular, we all argue when we hear that voice too, don't we? And then afterwards we find out, I should have listened. So please feel free to throw in whatever you'd like. Hello, Kasun, before you do, just hang on. He is over in Sri Lanka. It's the middle of the night. I have not seen you in forever, so welcome. Go ahead, Leigh. Go ahead.
So when you were answering that question, I thought, okay, yeah, I can't say I have an answer for you. Like I was thinking, I don't think I had a really good answer ready. But I had a way I wanted to answer, and it's kind of adjacent to it. So I think this is useful. And the way it would be is not necessarily like, I don't think of it as how would I pay attention to my inner voice. It's almost like how do you make a change in your life, but it is also learning to trust yourself when making that change. And so it would be something like this. The example I give is if you live in a town that has 3 different metaphysical stores, crystal shops, esoteric places to go, and you always go to that one over there, go to another one. Just one day, go to another one. Go. Or I use the example of grocery stores. If you always go to the one that's 2 miles down the road from you to that grocery store, go the one in the opposite direction that's 7 miles. Just to have something different, to do something different, or to do something differently you already do. And just see what comes, and it brings new things to you. There's new things that happen because you're in a different environment, you're in a different headspace. You decided that you would give it a go and not do the same thing over and over and over. And then trusting that well, what can I do now?
That's the word I was going to add, evidential proof. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I wanted to add this at the end. I love what you're saying because, right, you get that stroke of genius. I'm going to go to that other store, and then maybe you meet somebody you were meant to meet in the way of talking to them, or sometimes spirit comes through people. They'll remind you of people that are in spirit. It could be many different reasons. Yeah. That's where I added, that was the word I went completely blank there. I call it evidential proof. And start jotting that down. Go ahead, Leanne. I know you weren't done.
And
sorry.
That is so funny because there's this one spiritual store I used to go to. I love this place. I just don't go as often. But there was this one guy in there that worked there, and he's brilliant. So it finally got to the point I would walk in the store and I'd say, you need to share something with me. What is it? And he would say a topic, and okay, I would go and look it up, and it became like really interesting. But I did that for like a year. Like, hey, what do I need to know now? What's the next thing I need to look at?
I
And he would
love
just give me
that.
something to look at.
But you
He had the
trusted
best
the
laugh.
message. You trusted the message
Yeah,
to
yeah,
ask them.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead, Deb.
exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Well,
That's it. Yeah.
I've got a story that is very much based on this, but in a different way. Many years ago, when I was in corporate world, the company I worked for fired me. I know it happened. I was quite shocked. No, but I knew I should have known it was coming. Anyway, so I didn't want to go home. I was absolutely devastated.
Oh, I remember this story.
I remember this one, and I was absolutely devastated. And like, I can't go home. I just can't go home. So I thought, well, I got some grocery shopping, but I thought, well, I can't go to my usual grocery store because what if I meet somebody there that knows me? They'll sort of ask the question, why aren't you at work? And then I would have to tell them, and I was already red-eyed and blubby and all the rest of it. So
this is an incredible story, by the way.
This is where I literally went to a store I've never been to before, grocery store in the town where I live. And I'm walking around with a cart with nothing in it, looking at shelves and just going over in my mind, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I was blubbing. My eyes were all red and puffy. And I can't afford to not be without a job. And then this person came up behind me and they said, hi, Debbie, how are you doing? And I turned around and I said, oh, I'm fine. Red puffy eyes. So what's going on? And it was a guy I knew, and I said, oh my God, I've just literally been fired from my job. And he's like, who would fire you, kind of thing? I said, I know, but he said, so are you looking for a job? I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, why? And, eyes are all bulged out, the kind of thing. And I'm still working. He said, well, we need a bookkeeper at the printers I work at. Here's the phone number, make an appointment. They haven't been able to find anybody that's a good fit. So okay. So that was days without cell phones. Okay. So I went home and I called the guy and he said, well, can you come in now? And I said, sure, I can. I'm fucking fired from my job. So what am I going to do? I'm being fired. So I go in there and he says, when can you start? And I said, tomorrow. And he said, great. The pay was better. The hours were better. And that evening, I go home and I still got my few items from my grocery shop. So I'd been fired in the morning, listened to my gut, didn't go to my usual grocery shop. So that's what I'm saying, divine intervention of somebody being like, what's the odds of that guy being there? He went to go and get coffee and milk for the team at that particular time, and me to be there at that particular time, for him to bump into me. I wasn't looking, I had my head down. I'm like, I don't want anybody to see me. And so when I heard, hi, Debbie, I'm like, no, not now.
Okay, so, that right there, Debbie, is like the best example of loopiness. Like like the example I just said, I'm like, dang, and that happened years before I ever met you. That's amazing.
This is my life. It's never ease and grace. It's kicking and screaming kind of thing. Every ride. But see, this is where I love that joke. And there's a guy hanging on the edge of a cliff with a one stick that's sticking out from the edge of the cliff. And he says, is there anybody there? Can somebody help me? And this big booming voice opens up. Trust in me, let go. I will help you. Mm-hmm. Isn't there anybody else there that can help me? This is where we sometimes don't take what is the divine intervention as being what we're supposed to do, then, anything else. So I love that. But yeah, it actually happened, and it was incredible. But then that's the stories.
And that story just wrapped up the whole show. That was wonderful. Like that
we're going anywhere yet. I'm going to add a few comments here. We got amazing from Barb. Carrie saying, now that's an awesome interview. Not like do you see yourself in 5 years, like corporate questions. But there was a couple of comments I starred because when we're learning to try, and I hope that people find this helpful because like I said, I believe everybody has intuitive gifts, whether you want to call it trusting your gut or what you want.
Yeah.
But even being, from 3 different people and there's many people in the chat that have also added suggestions like these, like Barb, for example. Barb Gilbert says a friend's mother who passed away that I was very close to sends me her last name. It was Hobbs. Not so common at all. So I gather from that she's seeing it in various different places. This is an important one too, to pay attention to your body when we are connecting too, because Janet is adding, working with others, I get the hairs on the back of my neck and up over my scalp all go creepy. I know other people that will say whenever, say, my lip tingles, I know someone's lying to me, or there could be many other things. It's not all going to happen the same as it happens for everybody else. And I know there are times, like, again, I'm going to go back to the remote viewing. Doing it at will was a new skill for me. So I would remind myself to check in with every physical sense as well. What do I hear? What do I see? What do I smell? What do I feel? And check in with your body because you will get those kind of signs as well. What do you ladies think?
You definitely have to use trust. Trust is always there. It's the case of, even if I don't trust myself, like you were saying, Lorilei, it comes from the heart center or from the solar plexus, some people say, not from the head. The head is telling me, I can't do this, you're not good enough, and all those kind of things. And
that's ego.
Yeah, that's the ego rolling around, telling us the things that we're going, oh, and then our heart just goes, calm, let it happen, trust. And it's the head going, well, what do you have to trust in? And it's going like a 20 clicks to the minute. But Spirit told me many, many, many years ago when I was going through a really rough patch in my life, you have to trust in us. We will never lead you wrong, and we always take care of you. Now, somebody said, well, then why haven't you ever won the lottery? Because that wasn't what I was supposed to do, or I'm not supposed to do, but they have taken care of me. And yes, sometimes that trust element is like, okay, I'm ready. Whenever you want to send it, I'm ready. That kind of thing. And we've all done that, but we have to trust in that and go, okay, maybe this is where I need to be at this moment. And maybe this is where I need to understand why I'm here and what I'm going to learn from this, and then be ready to jump when it comes, because, Spirit haven't led me wrong ever. Even when I personally felt that was a wrong move. Like when I left England to go to Canada, somebody actually said to me, so Canada is your home. And my reply was, it is for now. And I'm like, what the? And 27, 28 years later, I'm in Mexico. So it was for now, but now in my head was next week, next year, 5 years. It was nearly 30 years later. And who knows? I don't ask that question now. I like to leave it open.
No, but the thing is being open to it, but it's learning to trust what we receive as well. Right.
Yeah.
And you guys on the show have heard me say many, 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 many times, I believe very small children and animals can see spirit, can connect with spirit. Well, guess what? We were all very small children once too, each and every one of us, which means even though we may feel like we're still not connected, it's kind of like if you learn to ride a bike at a very, very young age and you haven't been on one, doesn't matter if it's been 60 years, could you get back on that bike? Yep. It might take a little work. Might take some practice, but you know what? You can reconnect with that. So it's setting these little bits, and I just love, and I'm so grateful for all this, you know, all the personal experiences and the suggestions each and every you guys have shared, because I'm hoping by listening to this, you guys will feel that maybe you can start to trust some of that little bit of the inner voice that you hear, and to tell the difference between your ego talking you out of it and giving yourself the permission to think, well, what if I did actually do that? What if I went to a different store? What if I listened to that and just see what would happen? Well, I hate to say this, ladies, but we are almost out of time. So before I give you a chance to tell people what you got coming up and where to find you and what have you, I do want to thank each and every one of you here. I want to thank Michelle Wilfong for being my mod over on TikTok. TikTok hung in with us there, Michelle, for the whole show, thankfully. And for everybody that joined us over there, for all of the great comments and content on everything that you guys share here in the comments. We really, really deeply appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. We've got Dolly Saffron and Preston Dennett coming up next with The Light Gate. There's another show after that. Please forgive me, I haven't learned the new host's name. If Heidi Gall is still here, she'll remember. I know she will. But stay tuned. And Michelle DeRoche, who's our station manager, she just mentioned that we have, I think she said, did she say 6 or 7? I think she said 6 new shows. It might even be more than that, but coming up in the next 6 weeks, I think it's going to bring us up to 45 live shows. And they're not all just UFO and paranormal. There always is something for everyone on there. I will be back on Thursday with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn on Thursday. I'm hoping she's able to join me. If she's not, she's been really, really swamped. I will be here live Thursday. I promise you, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Beneath the Hollow Moon. Also, then I'm going to leave my show and head over to the second night of the Outer Realm with our wonderful Michelle DeRoche. We're doing part 2 of Fall McCartney, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, Leanne, you want to tell people where to find you, how to get a hold of you, things that you do, and then we'll go to Debbie.
Yes. You can find me on Facebook at The Crystal Architect. You can find me on Instagram at Architect the Crystal. And I do Akashic record readings, crystal assessments, crystal grids, and psychic readings. So if you're interested in any of that, that's where you'll find me.
And you guys, believe me, check out her stuff with the grids that she makes. And I'm telling you, I call her the Crystal Wizardress for a very good reason. Now, Debbie, what do you got coming up? How can people get a hold of you?
Leanne's grids and crystals are out of this world. Like when we work the 3 of us together, and I've been given things from Spirit, she's already got this and been given it too. It's in her grids. It's absolutely amazing. So she is an amazing crystal architect.
Also channels too. She didn't even talk about that. She's an incredible channeler.
Know. I know. She is an amazing channeler. Oh God. And check her out, ladies and gentlemen. For me, just go to my website. There's lots of different things going on there. My decks are all on special price at the moment, but I had an issue with the pricing for shipping. Sorry, the widget I had is no longer free, so we're having to revamp it and rethink it. So if you want to buy one of my decks, send me a message on the contact us, and then I will work out from your address how much it's going to cost, because we have to put a carte blanche price on there to cover just about anywhere, and I don't like doing that.
I had one of your decks here. I think it's behind. I should have thought to grab them. I have Debbie's deck.
Okay. I forgot to bring mine over, but they're all on special. I've also just put my predictions 2026 up on YouTube. I get the honor of being invited to subscribe to the Sedona Journal of Emergence each year with insights and predictions. So that's just gone up. I had to wait a little while because they like to put a December and January issue out so I don't overlap it. So that's available free of charge on YouTube. Just go to my YouTube channel.
They've printed your predictions.
Yeah, they have printed my predictions. Yes, sorry.
Yes.
Very honored that they printed it. So I have to give them what I call a couple of months before I'm, can share it with everybody. But I've put all of the months to come. And yes, it's called Openness to Change this year. And we all know what that means. There's going to be a lot more shifting, people. I'm sorry. I wish it was me saying it's going to be a happy, joyous, glorious year. But if this gives you some insights and some heads up, then so be it, and let it help and guide you as much as it can. So yes, that's me. And Lorilei is an
incredible medium, and you guys get a hold of her on social media. I'm not trying to rush you. We got less than 30 seconds. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you ever want to get a hold of me, get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock, or just reach out to me on any social media platform. I do psychic, I do mediumship, I do Akashic Records, I do crystal Reiki and energy healing. I do teaching and mentoring, and Messenger is the fastest and easiest. So we love you all. We'll have the ladies back on again, I promise. We always do at least once a year. We love you all. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Stay tuned for Dolly and Preston coming up right next. Thanks so much, everyone. Love you. I'll see you Thursday.